Hey everybody, so recently we learned about how to ship cremated remains. Today we're going to learn how to safely travel on an airplane with cremated remains. Many of you said, it's great if we want to ship them, but what if we want to bring them with us when we travel en route back home? So checked with TSA on all of their information online, checked on a bunch of different airline websites and information as well. So here's what we got. TSA says you can check your cremated remains or an urn container in a bag that goes below the plane, but probably not the best idea. Those bags are actually overseen by TSA a very small fraction of the time that they are at the airport. They are often thrown, moved around, not always the most gentle of ways. So bringing them and carrying them on the plane is your best option. Remember, cremated remains are heavy. They're not light. So the container you place them in and the cremated remains together can get quite heavy to carry through the airport. So choose a container that is going to allow you the easiest way to transport them through the airport as well. TSA is not supposed to open a container that holds cremated remains, but the container you place them in must go through the x-ray machine and must be x-rayable. So you're going to want to either keep them in the temporary plastic or cardboard container with the plastic bag inside, or choose an urn that can go through the x-ray machine easily. So, wood? Yes. Metal? No. So make sure you choose something that is not metallic for the x-ray. Much better option would be leaving them in the temporary container. It's going to be your lightest option. And then when you get to your end location, transferring them into an urn there, or carrying the urn separate with you on the plane as well. You're going to want to take a death certificate and the certificate of cremation, so that way you can present your documentation and show the TSA agent that you are traveling with cremated remains. Cremated remains are an easy way to transport something that is illegal on a plane, and so they want to ensure that what you are doing is a-okay. So wanted to read a few things from a few different airlines specifically. So Delta says that yes, it is permitted to bring cremated remains with a death certificate and cremation certificate. Cremated remains can be accepted as either carry-on, checked, or shipped unaccompanied as cargo. The passenger must have a death or cremation certificate if they are carrying them on. American Airlines says it's permitted. When you travel with cremated remains, they'll be treated as carry-on baggage. No special documentation is needed if you're traveling domestically, but please contact a local consulate or burial advisor if you're traveling internationally, since the rules vary. United Airlines, it is permitted as a carry-on with required documentation. If you're traveling with cremated human remains, they need to be transported as carry-on baggage. For travel within the U.S., it's highly recommended that you travel with the appropriate documentation, such as a document from the funeral home or a death certificate to present to the TSA. Spirit Airline is permitted. Documentation from the funeral home is not sufficient to carry a crematory container through security and onto a plane without screening. To be transported as checked baggage, the crematory container must be successfully screened during the checked baggage screening process. Frontier, it is permitted. The container must be made of a material such as wood or plastic that can be successfully screened by the TSA. Last but not least is Southwest. Permitted as a carry-on only. Southwest Airlines will not accept human remains as checked baggage. However, a customer may take cremated remains on board a domestic or international flight as a carry-on item under certain conditions. A customer or funeral cremation facility must choose to transport either cremated or uncremated remains via Southwest Airlines cargo Advanced arrangements are required. If you are traveling internationally, contact the embassy of the country you're traveling to. Call them on the phone. Their websites might not be updated, and you're going to want to see what documentation they require. You may need a health certificate. You may need multiple copies of the death certificate. You may need a special form filled out that is basically like declaring what is in that box or urn. So make sure you check with the airlines you are flying, and if you're flying internationally, check with the consulate of your destination you're going to. Most security agents will not open a container, both out of respect and for the safety of the TSA officers. A maximum carry-on baggage size for major airlines is 22 by 14 by 9 inches. So make sure you're just adhering to these rules and regulations. The more paperwork, the better. They don't want to have to be invasive into your loved one that is cremated, and you want to make sure you can get through security well. So remember, yes, and no. Thank you guys. Post your questions below, and if you have more comments or things about traveling with cremated remains, let me know.